In this video, we are going to create an expert advisor that utilizes the Relative Vigor Index for trading decisions. Let's see how we can do that. We start Metaeditor by clicking a little icon or pressing F4. The first thing we do in our code is include the CTrade class from the standard library. This class provides simplified trading methods such as PositionOpen and PositionModify, which will help us manage our trading operations more efficiently. Next, we instantiate a CTrade object with default parameters. This object will manage all trading operations, including position management. We then define our strategy configuration parameters. These parameters can be adjusted in the Expert Advisor properties. The LookbackBars parameter is set to 50, which means we will analyze the historical range for highs and lows over the last 50 candles. The MinCandlesBack parameter is set to 5, indicating the minimum age for valid highs and lows. The TrailingOffset parameter is set to 10.0, which represents the safety distance for the trailing stop-in points. The RVI period is set to 10, which is the period used for the RVI calculation, and the SignalThreshold is set to 0.0, which is the threshold for RVI crossovers. We also declare some global variables and handles to store state between ticks and indicator data. The RVI handle variable will hold the RVI indicator handle, while RVI main buffer and RVI signal buffer are arrays that will store the RVI main line and signal line values, respectively. The price data array will hold the OHLC price data. The onInit function is executed once when the expert advisor starts. In this function, we create the RVI indicator handle for the current symbol and the H1 timeframe using the IRVI function. We also configure our arrays as time series, ensuring that the newest data is at index 0. This alignment allows us to work with the data in a natural time flow. Finally, we return a success code to indicate that the initialization was successful. Next, we define functions for opening positions. The OpenByPosition function retrieves the current ask price for precise order execution and executes a buy order using the trade's PositionOpen method. The parameters for this method include the financial instrument, order type, volume, price, stop loss, take profit, and a comment. In this case, we are opening a buy position of 0.10 lots, which means we are buying 10 micro lots at the current ask price. The initial stop loss and take profit are disabled. Similarly, the OpenSellPosition function retrieves the current bid price and executes a sell order using the same PositionOpen method. Again, we are selling 0.10 lots at the current bid price, with no initial stop loss or take profit. The onTick function is the main function for price updates and is executed on each tick. In this function, we retrieve historical price data for analysis by copying H1 candle data for the lookback period using the copyRates function. The parameters for this function include the symbol, time frame, start position, count, and the target array where the data will be stored. We also load RVI values from the indicator buffers into our arrays for analysis using the copyBuffer function. This function takes the indicator handle, buffer number, start position, count, and target array as parameters. We copy the main line values into RVI main buffer and the signal line values into RVI signal buffer. Next, we check the status of any open positions. We determine if there are any open positions and their type by iterating through all open positions. We use the PositionsTotal function to get the total number of open positions and the PositionsGetTicket function to get the unique ticket number for each position. If a position belongs to the current symbol, we mark that an open position was found and store its type. We then implement trend detection and position management. For a buy condition, we check if the RVI main line crosses above the signal line and if the main line is greater than the signal threshold. If there are no open positions, we call the OpenByPosition function to open a new buy position. If there is already an open buy position, we identify the lowest low in the lookback period using the ILowest function. We check if the low point is at least MinCandlesBack old and if the current price is above the identified low. If these conditions are met, we calculate the trailing stop level by adding the trailing offset to the last low price and call the process trailing stop function to manage the trailing stop. For a sell condition, we check if the RVI main line crosses below the signal line and if the main line is less than the negative signal threshold. If there are no open positions, we call the open sell position function to open a new sell position. If there is already an open sell position, we identify the highest high in the lookback period using the iHighest function. We check if the high point is at least MinCandlesBack old and if the current price is below the identified high. If these conditions are met, we calculate the trailing stop level by subtracting the trailing offset from the last high price and call the process trailing stop function. The process trailing stop function is responsible for updating the stop loss for both buy and sell positions. We loop through all open positions and select each position by its ticket number. We check if the position matches the specified type and belongs to the current chart symbol. We then get the current stop loss value and update it based on the position type. For a buy position, we update the stop loss if the new level is higher than the current stop or if there is no existing stop loss. For a sell position, we update the stop loss if the new level is lower than the current stop or if there is no existing stop loss. Finally, we press F7 to compile the code. If this was too fast for you or if you don't understand what all the code is doing, you may want to check out the premium course on our website or watch one of the basic videos first. If that works, we go back to Metaeditor by pressing F4 or clicking on the icon. Back in Metaeditor, we press Ctrl and R to start the strategy tester, pick the expert advisor that we have just created, enable the visual mode, and start a strategy test. We should see the expert advisor on the chart. If you are already a premium course member and have an idea for a video like this one, you can send us an email. What we have learned is how to code an expert advisor that utilizes the Relative Vigor Index for trading decisions with a few lines of MQL code. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.